you and me, Chandana. So, guys, think there must be a reason for you guys joining. I know we had one person who mentioned curious, Frederick. Nice. And Kumar and Benny, do you have any specific questions in regards to Kanban? Or you just want to know what Kanban is, where you guys with your journey? There must be a reason that you guys are joining this particular meeting. So don't ask too much questions, people will drop off.
Okay, so I will start from my side. Agenda curious to know the market value of the Kanban certification. Okay, sure, definitely. Okay, so there is a one question at least. Definitely, we can have a conversation on that one. So let me first give my introduction. So my name is Zishan Amjad, and let me share my LinkedIn profile in case if any one of you want to be in touch with me and connect with me, feel free to connect with me. And here it is. There is no obligation. If you don't want to connect, that is perfectly fine. And I started my career as a software developer back in 2000. So I'm in this industry for past 24 years. And I have been doing the extensive technical work for easily 15, 16 years. Gradually, I moved to the process and project management, then Agile and Scrum, and doing all these type of things. So other than the Kanban things, I'm a AKT, Kanban trainer. I'm authorized to teach the TKP, KMP1, KMP2. The new name is the KSD and KSI, and the new certificate of the SPK Scrum Better with Kanban. And I'm also the SPC. From the SAFE side, I got the enablement for 11 courses for SAFE. I am pretty much all the certificate from the scrum.org. For past years, the new certificate, I haven't
Just
tried
to
that
sum
one.
up, Dishan has about 100 certifications that you will see
Oh,
on. That is
thank you,
why
Sharad.
he's here. Yep, he's here to help us out with some questions. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharad.
So,
I'm a professional coach from the ICF. I'm a ICF PCC. I am the Collective Certified Coach, CPCC. I love writing. I'm doing a lot of writings, and some of my writings published in the Best Agile article book in 2019 and 2020. Actually, one of my Kanban article is also promoted by the Kanban University.
yep.
So we have a first question from Pallavi. Interested to know about the Kanban and more ways the certification will help. So before even giving the answer of this question, if I want to know a little bit more clarity. What do you know about the Kanban right now? Is there anything do you know about the Kanban right now?
I think this goes both to Pallavi and Kumar. Both of them are looking probably to enhance skills.
Oh yeah,
So,
Kumar also said the same things.
yep. One more thing to add on is what roles are you in currently? Depending upon that, that's one. Second is what Jishan's question is, what you already know about Kanban. Correct, Jishan?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you for helping me.
no worries.
Hey there. I am a QA basically, and I've also worked as a business analyst, like on the functional side. Um, the Kanban is new to me, so I just wanted to understand when you mentioned the Kanban certification is going to help. So wanted to get understand it.
Hmm. Okay, so let me make one thing clear. So there are more than one Kanban bodies. So two are very common. One is the Kanban University and one is a Pro Kanban. And here we are discussing the Kanban University. But there is another one, Pro Kanban. Their certification things and their literature is slightly different than the Kanban University. I will just give you a little bit introduction, but since I cannot be, or Sharath is also AKT, Sharath and I, we cannot be a trainer for both of them, obviously due to the conflict of interest, so we can only pick one of them. So both of us are the Kanban University trainer.
Well,
So
again,
in
just add on to it is more popular in Kanban world
is
to
it more
help you out.
popular and it is older, more known. It
You've
has
done
been
lots of
for
research.
several years. Pro Kanban is comparatively new, and
Correct.
the difference is something similar to in case if you're familiar with the Scrum.org and the Scrum Alliance one. So in Kanban University, you have to take the training from the accredited Kanban trainer. There is no exam in the Kanban University training. except they just started the exam for the KCP, if I remember correctly. Other than the KCP, there is no exam.
Okay.
And no matter how much knowledge you have to take the training. The foundation one is the SBK for the people who are more familiar with the Scrum, and TKP for people who just want to start it from the Kanban. On the other side, the pro Kanban, they are following the philosophy of the scrum.org. What does it mean? That there is exam, and the exam is comparatively difficult as just like the scrum.org exam. I personally have 2 certification from pro Kanban, so that's why I can say this thing. And they do have a training, but training is optional there, just like the scrum.org. So if you want to take a training, you can get the training. So now, since we are the Kanban University and we are the trainer for the Kanban University, so I can say more about the Kanban University. I can only tell from the pro Kanban as a audience. So if you want to know more information, then contact with someone who has
I
belongs to
think
that one.
Nishan, thank you. Sorry to interrupt. There's another
Yeah.
question Kumar has on the chat. Okay, so let's focus on this question. I think it's nice. 2 questions I think we have not completely answered yet, Kumar's and Pallavi's, meaning what do we get from any Kanban certification in general,
Sure.
correct?
Sure.
That's
So I'm
one.
going to that one. And the reason I
So,
just wanted to mention is because people are sometimes confused because there are a lot of certification available here, and we can only give the information where we belongs to. We cannot give the information where we do not belongs to. So that's why I was just
correct.
mentioning. If you know more about that one, then there are other persons who are more uh, appropriate choice to ask those questions. So for the Kanban University, the initial one is that most of the people started journey with the TKP. That's a Team Kanban Practitioner. Sharad, go ahead,
I'm
please.
sorry
You
to
wanted to say
interrupt. I'm
something?
sorry to interrupt. No, no. I think they want to go in depth. Kumar has put a question in the chat. Are you able to see the chat?
Oh, yeah.
He wants us to
Kanban is
get into it.
basically a pull system, has its origin in Lean. It's more of a task management tool and can be used for optimizing a workflow. That is a starting point. Yes, that is a starting point, but it is actually more than that. And I will explain what does it mean by more than that. And that can actually tie with the certification also. So that is a starting point when we are looking from the task point of view. What does it mean? So suppose we are just working as a group of people working together, and they have a lot of tasks, and they are using initially the most common scenario is I saw in a lot of industry and a lot of companies are they just put the board just to make it visual. After some time they become more mature and they started using the work in progress limit, WIP limit, to improve the flow, but still they are working individually, and the WIP limit is usually the individual level WIP limit, not the team level WIP limit. Like, take a look at the example right now. How many people are in this call right now? We have 11 people in this call. Just imagine all 11 of us are working together. Okay, now we have 12 people. All 12 of us are working together, but we may or may not be working on the same thing. We might be working on slightly different, some interrelated, some completely different things. We created a board, we provided the WIP limit, and first step is usually I saw people are putting a WIP limit on the individual basis. What does it mean? That I am not going to take more than 1 task or 5 tasks or whatever it is. In this way, although we are improving the flow, we are providing a WIP limit, but we are not working with each other. We are not collaborating with each other. We are not working as a team. So that is usually the first step. The second step is, instead of focusing only on the individuals, we are working as a team and putting the WIP limit on the workflow and the different stages of the workflow. And what is the advantage we are going to get in this regard is that now we were forced to work together. What does it mean? Let's take a look at the very simple workflow. Usually people started with a very simple workflow. To do, work in progress and done, or to do, doing and done. It can be different, obviously, based on your situation, based on your context. And if you have, let's suppose, 5 members in the team or 6 members in the team, there is no hard and fast formula. Some people decided to use the n-1, some people decided to use the n divided by 2. You can use whatever is making sense in your context. If there are 6 people in the team and you put the WIP limit of 5 in work in progress, then what the 1 people is going to do in that case? Or if you put the WIP limit of 3, then what the three people are going to do in that case? So they are not pulling the new items. They are working together to finish those items first before pulling something else. And that's how we are inviting them to collaborate. And this is a very common question we are asking in the team, that when your work is done and you cannot pull more work because of the WIP limit, what are you going to do? Are you just going to wait so some slot will be open, or are you just going to violate the WIP limit, or what else you can do? So in that case, you are going to work with others, help the others to see what can I do to help you to make this thing complete so we can pull more work. So that is what the progression we are seeing in the Kanban certifications. The TKP and SBK is very much like a task-oriented one. But when we are going to the new the higher level certificate, the KST and KSI, now we are looking for more the team-oriented things and more the system thinking approach when we are looking for the whole holistic view. Did I answer your question, or do you need more clarification? Or Sharath, if you want to add something, feel free to add.
I probably will start with a question to Kumar. What does he mean by pull system, right?
Okay, so I'm assuming Kumar already know the pull system. In case if that is not the case, or if
I just
someone
want
is
to
not
answer
familiar
because
with the pull system.
there is different answers we get when we talk about pull system, right? So I just want to know what uh, most likely he would know, but I want to know his context to understand that he actually knows it already, the way that we know about it,
Okay, so
right?
Kumar, do you know already what the pull system is, or do you want me to explain what the pull system is also?
I think he knows what that is. Have a manufacturing background. Okay.
Awesome. So you already know this thing. Sorry, Jan in
Can
Lean.
Yeah, his origin from Lane. So what can I take a stance on this and try to give some information, Jishan, here?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. So, Kumar, so we have utilized Kanban for a very long time in manufacturing, and the crazy myth across the globe is Kanban is only limited for manufacturing and cannot be utilized for knowledge work. What knowledge work is totally, subject of 5-10 minutes discussion. We'll discuss it. Knowledge work is something that we're doing in IT right now, correct? So the knowledge from lean manufacturing, utilization of Kanban there, the knowledge has been borrowed from there, and it has been utilized to make sure that we can utilize it for knowledge work that we are doing in our current IT processes. Again, there is another myth that says you can only do Kanban for things that are repetitive. It has similar tasks because it comes from lean manufacturing. Everything there is repetitive and similar amount of work is there all the time. Again, that's a different myth. So we also solve that kind of myths here, and we don't call it a framework, we call it a method. It consists of processes, tools, principles, and change management methodologies that we believe in. It's a combination of principles, practices, and some other stuff that we talk about Kanban when we borrowed it from manufacturing to IT. So the first basic certification speaks about how can you be a good Kanban citizen? What does Kanban mean in IT for us, right, Sishan? So it is in, what about it in lean manufacturing, but how does this actually fit in IT? What are the things that we borrowed? What are the things that we added? And how are we utilizing that to better benefit the customer in the knowledge work side? It starts with that what we call is a team Kanban practitioner, TKP. That's a basic level. We do it for 8 hours. So what you know about the pull systems, you know about the practices, principles, and how you can utilize this for your knowledge work. And then we do some simulations where we try to make sure the teams understand the value of web, the value of collaboration, the value of WIP limits, and all of that. That way, they actually understand how doing Kanban in their teams is. That is one entry level. The second one would be SBK, what we call Scrum Better with Kanban. This is for more of Scrumban in our regular terminologies. So people are already doing Scrum, but they want to adapt Kanban because they want, at some point, you see the system meaning the work, the way you are doing becomes stagnant. You want to increase the pace or deliver the value better to the customer or do things in a better way. So these guys want to add a flavor of Kanban to the Scrum. That's called the Scrum Better with Kanban. That is an 8-hour course. So these two things is to start with as a basic is what we tell you. But if you're in a position where you are managing team of teams in a program management, all of that, we would recommend you start with something called Kanban system design. So there is a lot that goes into designing your Kanban system. Your Kanban system meaning your Kanban board. We call it a system. So there's a lot that goes into designing your Kanban board. And a lot of us just ignore and create boards, and then we do lots of trial and error methods for a very long time, not having a systematic approach to achieve that maturity in that particular place. That is a 16-hour course where we discuss few things about a case study, a large case study from Microsoft, and the lots of things about how all these practices help you do better in a Kanban system. And again, how to design the system itself. And there is something, once you learn that, there is something that is called KSI, Kanban Systems Improvement. That will help you utilize the system that you have built with the knowledge of Kanban system design and improve your current system frequently so you can deliver more value to your customer. At the same time, it also helps you, gives you a glimpse of Kanban maturity model. I think in SAFe and all, we have maturity models. We also have Kanban maturity model, which helps us understand the organization or the team's adoption of Kanban. It also gives a glimpse of that. At the same time, it also gives a glimpse of how do you scale Kanban in between multiple teams. When you're working with multiple teams, how do you scale it? So these are 3 things that I talked about. One, in actually 4. The basic level is 1, TKP, SBK. The next medium level is Kanban system design, Kanban system improvement. Together, they are called Kanban management professionals. So you'll have to know to set up a team with a Kanban, set up a board, drive the team. So that is Kanban management. If you have to still go deeper and know a lot more, there's something called Kanban coaching professional. That is where it's an expert level course. It's again 32 hours course, 16 plus 16, and then you'll also have an exam to write at the end. It's expert level, it's difficult, frankly. So this is the background of the certifications and the value and how it moved from how we are borrowing knowledge from lean manufacturing to and converting it to the knowledge work. I think I took quite a bit of time, sorry, Zishan, but I
It's
wanted
okay.
to put this perspective.
Yeah, it's okay. And actually, I just wanted to emphasize a couple of things which you mentioned, and that probably help Kumar to understand because Kumar has a lean and manufacturing background. So one thing you mentioned is in lean, we have only one type of work most of the time. But there is a possibility in the software development, we might have the different type of work. So we have the concept of the work item type here. And based on the work item type, there is a possibility that they might have the different workflow. So in lean, for example, you are going from step A to B to C to D, and probably everyone is going through the same thing. But here we might have one item that is going A to B to C to D, another one come from A to D to E to G, another one come from another workflow. So that is also a possibility. So this is something in addition we are doing in Kanban, and KSD course is actually helping us to resolve those type of things. Not only that, but there are sometimes a situation when we might have to handle something very critical. Usually one of my favorite example is if you ever went to the ER of the hospital, then are they going to treat you in a way you went there first? Is it going to be first in, first out? That is not happening. They are looking at the criticality of your situation and put you in the appropriate queue. So if you are in something very critical situation, then they will pull you immediately instead of just keep you waiting. So this particular concept, when we are introducing the different priorities, here we call it a class of service. In Kanban, we call it a class of service. So we are in the literature, they have the 4 class of service defined, but obviously you can create less than 4 or more than 4. But the important thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes based on the priorities might be changing. Your workflow might be different. It is something very similar to if you're making the trip to the airline, then if you have the economy class ticket versus the first class ticket versus the business class ticket, then how quickly you will get the boarding and go to the plane. And we have to be really careful. There are some some small details. So all of these things are actually helping us to define the Kanban system, the Kanban board, and this is what we are doing in addition to in the lean, because lean we are not looking for the different work item types most of the time. Yes, there are possibility. We are not looking for the different priority levels most of the time. So
Get some extent, but the other part is my part. I need to work on getting the.
Sure, sure. Again, what your role in, Pallavi, just to help you out more if you want.
I'm a QA with BA.
I'm sorry. Yes, you did. Okay. So are you trying to, again, if I go the route of certification, that will not answer your question. QA with BA, right? So that's fine. We will share you some details offline if that would be helpful for you. Please do. Otherwise, please let us know how we can help on that part of, taking the courses, right? We can do that.
Thank you. Good.
Sure, sure.
question. That's it.
Scrum's okay. So I was not expecting this thing. Okay, fine. But obviously, you don't know the Scrum certification built using Scrum or Kanban or Safe or Less or whatever it is.
Right, because the company I work for actually didn't suggest that I purchase anything besides that. So
Yeah, so I am asking the general question. It is not only the company buy, it is my own buy, like whether I buy this phone, buy this laptop, or whatever it is.
okay.
Whenever we buy something. So I will be very much surprised if any one of you said that they are going to buy anything, whether it's a product or service, because of the process. We are not buying the things because of the process. We are buying the things because those things give us a value. And we are thinking that these perceived value as a customer, I have these values, so that's why I'm going to buy this thing. So in a same way, I used to say this thing again and again. In fact, I have the exactly same conversation yesterday in one of my WhatsApp group, that no matter what framework, what practices, what methodology, whatever the XYZ name you want to say, we are going to pick. At the end of the day, our customer don't care. Our main focus is how we are going to give the value to the customer. These tools are actually helping us to give the value to the customer. These techniques, tools, process, framework, methodologies, they
sell this value with the customer, because as you mentioned, at the end of the day, we want to have results for the company. We can sell results, we can sell visibility, we can have order, but at the end of the day, everything falls in the category of results for the company that is buying our services, or our method. One of the problems that we have find in Mexico, because I am from Mexico, is precisely how do the people engage with the real value of the tool. No? Sometimes when we can explain very well the philosophy, the use of the tool, but when we are facing or we are trying to approach the real problem, it's not so easy to understand. How do you the question is if have you faced something similar in your country, or is it very common this process to convince that they need to model their process using this kind of techniques in order to get results, which is the final value that we are trying to achieve, right?
So let me rephrase what you said. So for my better understanding, if I understand your question correctly, so you are trying to ask, and feel free to correct me if that is not the intention. You are trying to ask, how are we going to convince the customer for whatever the practices we are using is helping them? Is this your question? Or is it something else? Okay. So as I said, as a customer, we don't know and we don't care what the process that company is using. The laptop I'm using right now, I don't care. This is an MSI laptop I'm using right now. I don't care what the process and technologies or methods they are using to build this laptop. The only thing I care is whether this laptop is giving me the value or not. And if this laptop is not giving me the value, no matter how perfect their Scrum or Safe or Lean or Agile or any XYZ is, I'm not going to buy this thing. So the important thing is we have to keep the customer in the loop. So if we are producing something, whether it's a product or services, and we are not keeping the customer in the loop, then we are just creating the hypothesis that this is whatever we are creating is potentially going to give the value, which may or may not be correct. And if you take a look at any of the agile framework practices, methodologies, or no matter whatever the term you want to use, one thing is common among all of them. Actually, two things are common. So one thing is feedback loop. We have to include the customer and get the feedback, because if we are not getting the feedback from the customer, then there is a possibility that whatever we are building may not be needed by the customer. There may be a different ways to achieve the introduce that feedback loop. In Scrum, we have the sprint review. In Kanban, we have the feedback loop mechanism of their own. So this is an important like a basic foundation, very raw thing, include the customer. Second thing is the transparency. So we have to make the transparency, and take a look at the word transparency. There are 9 values of the Kanban. One of the value is the transparency. Transparency is so important that all major framework and practices in agile world, everyone, if I try to find the common thing in all of them, transparency is the common. Transparency is a value of the Safe. Transparency is a value of a Kanban. Transparency is a principle of less. Transparency is a very important in an empirical process control system. Transparency, inspection, and adaptation, where Scrum is built on. So any framework, if I want to drill down the two things, one thing is include the customer, get the feedback from the customer, and make it transparent. If we are not doing this thing, and whatever we are doing other than all these things, creating the fancy dashboard, trying to come up with Monte Carlo simulation, having a fancy estimation, creating a let me ask you one thing. So suppose you are the director of some company. So you have to deal director, SCP, VP, some very big, working on some very big high level strategic things. And you are going through your floor where a lot of teams are working on the things, and they have the lot of Kanban boards. So things are visible to you. You can see that how many tickets are in this stage and this stage and this stage. But do you really understand the meaning of those tickets? Do you have the shared common understanding?
That is correct. I am totally agree with you. In the other hand, we can have the, as you say, we can have the transparency. We can have the politics, for instance, but it's not visible for the people, so the people can.
Yeah, it can be both ways. Yeah, it can be both ways.
Yeah,
things may be transparent but not visible, or things may be visible but not
Yeah.
transparent. Usually one of my favorite example is thousands of years ago, people saw that the sun rises from the east and goes to the south. So things are visible, and based on the visibility, they are assuming that Earth is a center of the universe, geocentric. So this was visible for them. But is it true?
Okay, correct.
So transparency means both you and I have the common shared understanding of the things. And we can have the exactly opposite things. There are things which are, if I'm picking the astronomy example again, then there are a lot of astronomical objects. We know exactly most of the details about those stars and planets, although those are not visible to us.
That is correct.
So
Yes,
that
thank
is
you.
why I
Thank you.
mentioned, I'm sorry,
Very good
go ahead,
example.
please.
Very good examples. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So that is why I mentioned that we should have a transparency, both customer and producer have the same shared understanding. If we don't have a transparency, then I might say something and they might interpret it in a different way. Let me give you a very simple, very basic example. I saw a couple of years ago, I think 6 years.
Jira, for instance. Okay.
Mhm.
So when you try to explain and go and using Jira, not necessarily knowing about
which are Jira, Ali, blah, blah, blah. Do not go behind frameworks, whatever they are. The important things are transparency and feedback loops. We did not plan to do this, but this thing happened today. Don't run behind the tools. Don't run behind the frameworks, but transparency for customers, feedback loops to make sure that you help your customers. I think this is
Actually,
fantastic.
I think I changed my angle. This is better. So
Great.
actually, this reminds me an interesting thing. So in the same organization, when I joined as a Chief Scrum Master, so I came to know very interesting thing when I joined the organization. So they took my interview. There was an interview going on for a lot of candidates, and when they selected me and I joined the company, and after a couple of months, the person who took my interview said a very interesting thing which I never realized, and that was not a plan. And he told me that you were the only candidate during the whole interview, you never mentioned a single tool. He said all of the candidates we interviewed, they were discussing about the tool, and you were the only one who never mentioned any tool. I said, okay, I didn't realize, and that was not even a plan.
They're fans for your quote. A fool with a tool is still a fool.
Okay, I will write it here.
I did put that for you.
Oh, you put it, okay. It is not mine, but anyway.
Correct.
For this meeting. Again, see, it's very important on how we put the word tool, right? We can utilize it for everything, but specific what we're saying here is, I think like Anthony mentioned, forgetting the philosophy, forgetting the customer, forgetting the value that we're providing. If you just run behind the tools and then do whatever you want to 1,000 things, you still are a fool, is what you're trying to say.
And in future, if the organization decided to switch, or for example, if the company, what if the Jira company, Atlassian company went down?
There's a new flavor that comes in Jira.
There is always a new flavor. But we still have to learn the new tools, and we keep ourselves in the hamster wheel of keep learning the new tools.
I think that's a pretty common problem people run into, that they dig their own hole. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic conversation that led us for three things that I've told, but fantastic.
Yeah. And since we have only a few minutes remaining, so I wanted to mention, because this is the Kanban thing, so I wanted to mention few important things with respect to the Kanban. Sharath already mentioned few things, so I just wanted to add something on top of that about the myth of the Kanban. So one of the thing about the Kanban myth is that Kanban is only for the support things and Scrum is for the product development things. So that is not true. You can use the Kanban for product development or the support. You can use Kanban for wherever it is applicable. A couple of more interesting things on the same line I wanted to make is a lot of organization, even in the same organization when Sharath and I was working together, they have sort of checklists. If this is a checklist, use the Kanban. If this is a checklist, use a Scrum. So they try to make a Scrum versus Kanban war. Either you are in a Scrum world or in a Kanban world. That is definitely not a case. And Scrum Better with a Kanban certification from Kanban University explicitly mentioned this thing, that it is not a replacement of Scrum in any way. You can use both of them together without any problem at all. So that is why even the name is Scrum Better with Kanban. So it is not like either we are in a Scrum world or a Kanban world. We can and one of my example is in this case is Scrum has more structure. It is just like a stencil. When you are trying to create some diagram with a stencil, then you just use that stencil and whatever the letters or diagram is draw. So Scrum is like that. Kanban is just like a paintbrush. So once you have drawing with a stencil, you can use whatever the colors you want to fill in that diagram. So Scrum is more structured, give you the drawing, whichever you want to say. Kanban is less structured as compared to the Scrum, where you can fill whatever the colors you wanted to fill in that one. So no one is going to stop you whether why should you use the stencil or why you should not use the stencil. So there is perfectly fine. There is no problem at all to use the Scrum and Kanban together. Few more important things on the same line I wanted to mention here is by definition, Scrum works with a team. There is no point of using a Scrum if I'm the only one. If there is only one-man show, if I have my own project for whatever the project it is, whether the building the house for my pet or creating some GitHub project, there is no use of using the Scrum. But we can still take an advantage of Kanban in that case. For example, I can share my personal example. I love reading, but there is sometimes a habit of I started reading a lot of books, which I'm not able to finish very quickly. Then I put a WIP limit on myself. Okay, no more 3 books at a time. So Kanban can also help on an individual basis. Scrum is probably not a good choice if you are working alone. So in this way, there is an advantage of the Kanban. On a flip side, Scrum is suitable for the small team. If there is a bigger teams, then probably you have to use some variant, either it's a less or Scrum at scale or safe or anything else or Nexus or whatever it is. But Kanban, you can use it in a large scale also. We can use it in the portfolio. We can use it, we even saw in the safe also. So we can use from the scaling. Scaling can be the horizontal scaling, where we are doing the work with the multiple teams together. We call it upstream and downstream Kanban. There is some technical terms. Or we can do scaling from the domain size. We increase the domain, or we can see the scaling from the scope size, the team size. We are not only working at the team level, we are working at the portfolio level. So Kanban, we can use the set of Kanban practices we can use in a different ways, in different levels, and even different scope. That we cannot do with the Scrum. Scrum by definition is for the small team. If we are trying to use a Scrum for like 500 people, we have to use something in addition to Scrum. Sharad, do you want to add anything?
No. I think that's great. That's great points. We have 3 more minutes. We can take one last question. Anyone else? Person spoken up?
No. Thank you for the clarification. Very good. Can you guys, please leave your LinkedIn links?
Sure.
In the
Sure. Here's my LinkedIn. Definitely.
Yeah, I forgot.
In the chat.
In the chat.
No worries.
Yeah, in the chat.